All right, welcome to Unapologetically Black Male, where we talk about surviving the standards, stigmas, and systems. Listen, this podcast is meant to highlight the stories of African American men, and just provide a positive light instead of all the negativity that we have on a consistent basis. I want to thank my co-host, Brother EJ Stewart. I want to thank our sponsor, J Pope and Associates. Listen, if you are in need of therapeutic services, whether individual or counseling, please click the link below, and they'll reach out to them so that you can get connected and get your mental health needs attended to. Because in this day and age, we know that mental health is important to our sanity, it's important to our daily life, and it's important to who we are as people. But we have a guest on today. Brother Marvin James. I'm going to let him introduce himself, give us a little bit of background about who he is, where he's from, what it is that he do, and then we'll just kind of jump in with questions following that. So, Brother Marvin, it's on you.
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
Hey, man.
What's going on?
Appreciate you.
Man, I appreciate you guys. Marvin James, from Baltimore, born and raised, only city I know, and probably one of my first loves, and excited to be able to, number one, be on the show, and then to be able to talk everything that is Black, and then more importantly, to be able to talk everything that is Black men. It really is a great opportunity. Again, look, I am a church kid who fell in to the realm of politics. I don't take myself too serious. I do really, really important work. However, though, because of the line of work that I am in, I have to come home and decompress, and then realize that I have a mother who reminds me that that I ain't nobody, particularly up in these streets, and they keep me grounded and real humble. I think also, I'm blessed to be a senior advisor, and more importantly, a chief political advisor to the now current mayor of Baltimore City. And I probably have been doing politics, I want to say, about almost a decade now, in all honesty. Coming up through the ranks, starting out as an Obama kid, and then really just kind of like being hungry and not stopping until I'm done. And so, that's like in short, about me. I can give you the whole bio, but it's not, it's unnecessary.
Well, we like to throw in there. What school did you go to?
Buddy.
We could do high school, college, all
Yeah,
that good stuff.
no. We give you all of that. So I went to Carver, and wait a minute, I went to Carver. Wait a minute, no, put your hands back down. I went to Carver in Towson.
Got you.
As long as it's not Dunbar, it's fine.
I went to Carver in Towson, and I went to University of Baltimore.
Okay.
And so, I've been very blessed to be able to kind of sit up under some really great mentors and people that allowed me to be their protege. And in all honesty, if it was not for people kind of just taking and a liking to me, I don't know whether or not I've been on the career path that I'm on now. But I've been very, very blessed.
Got you.
It's amazing. You said you're a church kid. How was that experience growing up, and how did that influence your trajectory or basically where you are now?
So here's what's funny. I tell people all the time, it is a really great example of how powerful the church is, which is I did not learn how to do 95% of the stuff that I do in school. I learned it first in church, right? Like my first speaking experience was reading scripture in church, like prior to the age of 3, 4, right? So that's public speaking. I learned how to deal with like multiple personalities, right? Like people that's just mean and nasty, and then people that's just really, really nice, right? Like
Sheesh.
that's like relationship management, right?
Mhm.
101. I learned how to be able to like really develop this idea of empathy and grace,
Mhm.
and and always being able to understand people. I didn't learn that in school. I learned that in church. I never walked through the halls of Congress, never been to a city council meeting in my life.
Mhm.
But my God, I've sat in some church meetings, and more importantly, I've seen the politics that happen in front
Mhm.
of and in back of. It is the perfect lesson in understanding politics. And so I've really been blessed to kind of be cultivated in a space that allowed me to do like this trial and error and be hidden as I was being developed. Again, the last part of that story is I grew up in the Church of God in Christ. I am a fourth generation son of a bishop. My grandfather was an avid part of the Church of God in Christ, and
Mhm.
so we every November is Holy Convocation, right? So
Mhm.
again, I saw these people go into, and I didn't know what it was at that time, right? But you would see these people go into what we call the General Assembly. They have delegates, and they go in there and they would discuss all of the issues that were pertaining to the church, right? This was kind of like our democratic process and work. At that
Mhm.
time, though, it wasn't that, right? It was Mother So and so going off about some of the young people that was probably going a little bit too far during the Kirk Franklin mix during the youth night, right? Like that's what it was, right? Or like, but it to me, it was kind of just allowing people to be able to voice themselves. So, I mean, it has been immensely impactful, as well as also as any organism that has its pros, it has its cons, right? And
Mhm.
so, the church has at its time, been limiting to kind of like sometimes my thinking and how we kind of look at things. However, though, excuse me, having kind of like a well-rounded family, having a very well rounded circle and village kind of allowed me to kind of grow into the person that I am today. So there is no doubt about it. I always lift up the church. I will always apologetically say that I am a church kid. And more importantly, I think that is super important for people who are still in church,
Mhm.
or still connected to, excuse me, being developed in church, to know that there are opportunities for you to do both. There's no either, or, right? You can do both. And so I'm super excited always to kind of be able to talk about that experience.
Got you. That's awesome. Can you tell us some of the things that you as get into the political arena, and this kind of the different dynamics that you had to face. Can you explain like anything that was alarming to you as a black man going into the political space, like any of the stigmas or like things that were said or done that kind of resonated with you and kind of make you kind of make sure that you on your game at all times.
Might have lost him.
All right.
Might have lost him.
Okay.
Looks like he froze up. But you can edit it out when if he comes back, right?
Yep, I can.
Okay.
Give it a second.
Yeah, I guess so. I think it's his computer or connection. There
Okay.
you go. Yeah, there he goes. All right, he's back.
All right, cool.
Hey, I'm sorry. I don't know what.
All right, no worries. Are you good? We that that's the beauty of pre-recordings that you can edit that part out. I was asking a question like as an African American male in a political arena, like what are some of the stigmas that you had to face kind of jumping into this arena, coming, being as though you said, as you said, you didn't really have that much experience in the political arena.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like you prepare in the church, and then the opportunity presented itself, and then you kind of hit the ground running. So tell us some of the things that you had to face, kind of matriculating through this political arena.
Oh, I mean, look, let's be clear here. My experience is no different than, the janitor at John Hopkins, or the, rising VP at the, finance firm, or the, young guy who's just trying to figure out how to matriculate through an Ivy League school.
Mm-hmm.
The game is all the same. It's gotta, again, there are just differences. I think, to answer your question directly, there are a lot of sectors, right, within politics. You got government, you have public policy, you have advocacy. I work in what we call electoral politics. So basically, if someone says, I want to run for Congress, or I want to run for president, or I want to run for mayor, right, they will come and seek me out, and pretty much will normally ask for us to be able to kind of like run their campaign, help them set up their staff, be able to
Mm-hmm.
figure out the lay of the land. It is a very niche field.
Okay.
There are not a lot of people that know how to do it. It is one that is part project manager, but
Mm-hmm.
also one that is kind of like built in the idea that you really understand people.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality of it is, a lot of people that are groomed to do that work
Mm-hmm.
look like us, because it is very much a relational field.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is people who will, it's the son of the son, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because normally the donor is this person, and they got a son who they played golf with, and
Mm-hmm.
or this was the person that was really hungry. They wanted to be a congressman one day, right? And so they put them in this part of the campaign so that they would learn how this side worked, because they too one day would wanted to be that, right? And so because there aren't a lot of African American elected officials throughout the country as a whole, right? There's a
Mm-hmm.
solid, crew of them, but like not a lot of them. It is very hard for people of color, particularly in electoral politics, to break through. And it's really built on a couple of factors. Number one, a lot of the work that you have to do at the entry level normally is done for free, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you think of yourself like as an intern in Congress, right? A lot of the interns, they work for free or just barely nothing. Normally, the people who get to benefit from that are people who have parents with money, right?
Mhm.
People who absolutely have the connections to be able to waddle through the 2,000 applications that you get, right, on a normal day, for someone that's applying for an entry level job within politics, right? They have, excuse me, the direct, they also, more importantly, have access to like a Ivy League education, because normally those are, we're very kind of like image driven
Mm-hmm.
industry. And so really, again, not anything new, right? If you work in law, if you work in medicine, if you work in engineering, that's nothing new. I think the difference for politics really is that, because you ascend to this place and you normally become the person behind the guy, right? So
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
everything about my life has really been centered about keeping my anonymity as much as I can. I normally don't. I'm only doing this broadcast because it's you, Pete.
I appreciate it, man.
I
We
don't.
got to know the genius
But
sometime, man.
but I understand. I understand. I get it.
Yeah, like I normally don't. I don't do broadcasts. I don't do that type of stuff. I really try to stay behind the scene as much as I can. But with that being said, right, like you are out here having a really close relationship that is built on this idea of trust with the principal. And so you gotta, you have to be relational. And if you think about it, a lot of the people who are in politics are older white males, right?
Mm-hmm.
And normally the people who older white males are going to kick it with are not young black kids from the inner city of Baltimore, right? Like that's
Right.
how that works. And so you really do have to become a chameleon, i.e., what we call in our world, in professional world, like code switching, and
Hmm.
the
Mm.
idea of being able to do things because you really do enjoy the work. I hate golf, right? There's nothing about golf that is enjoyable to me. It's not
Mm-hmm.
like it's not fun. It doesn't do anything, but I had to learn it
Right.
because that's where business gets done, right? Like it's literally. I'm from Baltimore. Nobody wants to play golf. Like it's not real. Right?
The crazy part, there are plenty of courses though.
That's
Right.
right. Again, again, built on the premise of how we're cultivated in
Mm.
a city, right? Like to be a kid in Baltimore and be like, no, we don't have golf courses. Like, no. But like you live 5 minutes from one
Right.
and
Or drive through one every day.
white people
Yeah,
come here. Like
yeah,
they, like so
affordable one at that.
that's right. Right. It's not right. That's right. It's not Baltimore County where they're paying, the suburban club where they're paying $50,000, $100,000 fees, right? Like it was affordable one. Everybody came. So I think that in sum total, what I'm just trying to say is that it really is about being able to kind of like put your life in a place where you're really hungry for what you wanted. And at that
Mm-hmm.
time, I was just hungry. Like I love the action. I loved how fast paced it was.
Mm.
And I'll end you with this, which is like a lot of people don't know. I worked overnight at the Marriott from 11 to 7. I worked overnight at the Marriott from 11 to 7. Go home, sleep for probably like an hour and a half,
Mm.
and then get right back up and go and do all of the grunt work stuff literally all day. So literally, if it was, whatever it was, I was just hungry, and so like
Mm-hmm.
I would do all of that, and then with people were like, "Oh, well, I know you just go home and go rest." I'm like, "No, I got Bible study. I gotta serve my pastor. My pastor's going out and preach. I gotta go help him out." So like
Mm-hmm.
it was a whole vicious cycle, but I did it because I was super hungry and I just wanted to be able to kind of excel at what I was doing.
Mm.
So you kind of led me into my question. I had it already, but I wanted to see what you were going to say throughout everything. You being the genius behind the public vision and what they get to see. You know, is there things that you see out there that maybe you say, I don't ever want to be the person in front, or is there going to come a time where we're going to see you on the ballot?
Oh no, bro! I would rather slit my wrist and sit on a bed of bro than ever run for office. I will never, ever, 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 and I want this video to go down in the archives of time. 20 years from now, it's fully been, recognized by the Congress, House, Senate, our president. You will never ever see me run for anything again. Um, is this a Christian broadcast? What kind of broadcast is this?
It's
Oh, okay,
open.
but I,
It's open. You good?
Oh,
We
oh.
oh gosh.
we we
So
good.
like,
Listen.
like I, politicians, people that come to me and say that they want to run for office. I know that normally those people are very high strung, A type individuals that really do
Hmm.
believe that they got the answer for everybody, right? And like I'm not gonna say what I want to say, but like the reality of it is that like you really do have to be in a space of where like, yo, I I really do believe I had the answer. Remember, you're a representative of a group of people. That's really what
Hmm.
all
that
you
you
are,
think
right?
you that
Right.
you think you largely know.
That's right, right. So like, it doesn't matter whether you're running for dog catcher or for president, right?
Hmm.
The goal is I gotta find enough people that believe in me that will support me and end up electing me in the office.
And the reality of it is, for me, I don't. Um, I find more pleasure in being the coach
Mm,
than actually being the player. And so, believe it or not, anyone, my friends who are that know me, know that I've never been the guy that wanted to be on the court, even as a kid. Right? Make me the coach, right?
mm,
And so I was the bossy person. So
mm,
like I knew who I. There were sometimes that before I could list off the players, I knew who the coach was,
mm.
just because that was just the guy that I was as a kid. So yeah,
Hmm. Okay.
yeah. So that's the question. No, no, you will never see my name on. You'll never see my name on a ballot. But someone did present a good example. However, though, if for whatever reason, so there are times when like somebody dies, right,
Mm,
and
mm.
then um a person has to be appointed.
Right.
Hmm.
If I felt like y'all couldn't find nobody else, right,
Ah,
you could
ah.
nobody else. There was, I mean, we went through everybody.
Right.
There was nobody else. Then I would possibly take it into consideration. It's not even that I would possibly take it into consideration. Yeah, that's the only way that that's gonna
Got you.
All right.
Got you.
Progress. We got some progress.
We got some.
happen.
Now you spoke to like the grind of it all,
Yeah.
like, and often people don't see that grind. So, like, if you could explain it to like what does it take to literally run a campaign or like that political, like trying to get them engaged with that, like the with consumer base and different things like that. Like, what type of effort does it take to make that happen?
Oh, bro, it's your life.
Hmm.
It consumes you. There is no. Every day I wake up with the full understanding that I literally have people's futures in my hand. And
Mm,
you don't think about that until you understand that, and particularly the higher you go, the more people you have in the palm of your hand, right?
mm,
So here I am, I'm running, a young guy who became council president because the mayor resigned. We got him elected to that position. And literally, this is not just about him. This is
mm,
about his secretary, his communications director, right? The person that's answering the mail, right? All of those people. That's just not him. That's their kids, where they going to eat, where they going
mm,
to sleep, right? Like, so you want to talk about a person that wakes up at 4:30, 5 a.m. and sweat, like that's what it is. It is you fully understanding that you don't have time for ego in this field. Uh,
mm,
I, I I basically won a race that no one thought that we were going to win. I'm technically supposed to be on MSNBC. I'm technically
mm,
supposed to be doing all of this like great stuff. I'm supposed to have my new web page up with,
mm.
all of my profile stuff. It's not the grind is not done yet, right? Like
Right.
I got a city filled with 600,000 people where, we're working every day to undo a lot of the unjust policies and people who are nowhere near living the way that they should be living. Uh,
Hmm.
so it is from start to finish, even when you get there, a consistent grind. And so it really is about being humble. I don't say that as a cliche. I say that sincerely from the bottom of my heart. The moment that you think that you made it, the moment that you got the salary, the moment that you think that any of that stuff will absolutely, put you in a space of where you don't have to do anything else. You played yourself. Every
Mm,
day I wake up hungry. I need something else. Give me something else I need to accomplish. I got to prove somebody else wrong. It is really about always being in a space to win. And that is the hunger that keeps me alive in this space, but also more importantly, in anything that I do. It's an everyday grind. You do not stop. And particularly on campaigns where you're dealing with people who really they got an opinion for everything.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about, the parallel from like church to politics, bro. Everybody got an opinion. How dim the lights should be in the church, where the usher's supposed to stand, right? How long the pastor's supposed to preach, right? Whether or not we're gonna walk fast, it don't matter. Like everybody got opinion. You take that and you translate that right into the world of everybody,
Mm-hmm.
right? Take that and now put that on 10. And so that is kind of like what keeps me in a position of understanding that you're not going to make everybody happy. However, though, if you work every day to make sure that you're doing your best, people are
Mm-hmm.
satisfied, and that's really what you got to be able to do.
That's tough. That's tough. That gives a lot of perspective on things. And in all of that, how much of it, because how much of it do you have to personally outside of the grind, but how much do you, and this might not be the best question, but
Sure.
how much do you personally invest into that person, or is it the work, or is it a mixture of both? So is it that I believe in this guy or this lady, or it's just that this is the job that I've been tasked to do and I love the grind that comes with it? Or is it a mixture of both?
Oh, no, I got you. I hear you. I hear your question. No, it's a mixture of both. However, though, for me, it is absolutely because I absolutely believe in you. I'm not at the
Mm,
place where I get to you know, th- I I just won a mayor's race that nobody thought that we could win, right?
Mm-hmm.
mhm,
So there are offers coming from all over, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you win the race where nobody thought that you could win, now all of a sudden people think that you got a magic juice that like exists somewhere and makes them
mhm,
somebody, right? Like that's
Right.
what happens. You know, the I'll put this out there, I've had people that have come and said, we will literally pay you, and this is no lie, we will literally pay you 20K a month to come out and run this election or just be a general contractor on the campaign. And to be very clear, uh I'm not making 20K a month right now. Let me tell you, my guy. Um
Wow.
uh, it is really for me about being in a space where I really do believe
Mm-hmm.
who you are. And it is about winning too. So there are definitely a lot of people out here. They just run races because they run races and because they get money, right? And it is, and I'm not mad at them. But the reality of it is, I won't wake up in the morning and be excited for you. I just go on, do my grind, right, and like, going about my day to day. If I'm in a space of where I advocate for you because I believe in you, it makes the drive so much better. And more importantly, I own myself.
Mm-hmm.
The number one thing that I have always said regarding Marvin is I will give all of this up. I will go back and I will literally work at the Marriott before somebody think that they own me.
Mm-hmm.
mhm,
And so money is phenomenal, but peace of mind is so much better. And I have seen people who have become locked by what we call the golden handcuffs, believing that that materialistic stuff matters. And I want to be very clear here, by the way. I'm not some like, gypsy. I love nice stuff, by the way. Uh, I love a good Louboutin shoe. I don't just walk through, Burlingtons and Bostons. I do a little shopping in Tyson's too as well, right?
Gotcha. Gotcha.
But like
Gotcha.
the point is that I'm trying to make is I really do believe and value peace of mind over everything. And at the end of the day, you you will be able to put yourself into the trajectory of where you will end up one day making a lot of money while also believing in the person that you support as well.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a lot of faith.
Yeah. I would say that I mean, just kind of like that personally believing in person, I would say it would take you farther than the money, because what it does, it gives you more like, as you said, like a desire, like, oh, I really want to make this happen because I believe in the message, I believe in the person, and I
That's
want to
right.
make sure that this person gets their message out there and help them to continue to strive and reach their goals. So definitely, I could definitely appreciate that and agree with that. You said being I think you fourth generation bishop.
Yeah.
Bishops. So with that being said, like who are like the key? If you had a top three of male influences in your life, if you could narrow it down into a top three, because I'm pretty sure you have several, but if you can narrow it down to a top three of like the most impactful in your life, and how they impacted your life to get you where you are now.
Yeah. My father, number one, he is a Marine,
Mhm.
a father, too, but really a lot of sons and daughters, people who all up and through our household, who have either stayed with us through, short period of time or long period of time. He absolutely treasured work.
Mhm.
People ask me, where do I get that workaholic spirit from? It's definitely from my dad. Like, my dad, my father was making probably like 70, $80,000 back in like the early 90s.
Mhm.
Black
Wow.
was not making that type of money, particularly men that who did not have a degree at
Right.
all, right? And he would make that money and then get a job at like somewhere at a hotel. Actually, he was a doorman at a hotel
Wow.
so that we could have presents, so he wouldn't have to come out of his general fund. That's the type of man that my father was, right?
He said, "Y'all not gonna
Um,
spend my money.
yeah,
I'm
you're not
gonna
gonna
get this
spend my
other
money.
job."
Like, y'all want a Nintendo? Like, all right, well, I'm gonna just, I'm gonna work a little, come find a little extra shifts. And I remember, it's funny, I'm cracking out because I literally remember it one year, he had this big on coat. But my dad, like, his work ethic was second to none. And he was never without a job. If he
Mhm.
had to go and, do groceries, he would do it because it was like, I believe in having a job. And so, top one, my father. Second person would probably be a man by the name of Bishop Carl Montgomery.
Mhm.
Um, that man unequivocally taught me the life of servanthood. If it was not for him, I probably would not have a real understanding of church.
Mhm.
I grew up in a good, solid, family church, but like Bishop Montgomery taught me the ebbs and flows, how it works, the understanding how people work, personalities. Um, More importantly, how to be able to put events together. He's kind of like what we call the father of like protocol, institution, and all other
Mhm.
stuff. And so really was influential. My first time like traveling for real, like for like church and ministry, was with him, right?
Mhm.
Like, he taught me so much, and that lifestyle of not wearing your feelings on your shoulders, being
Mhm.
tough, take a licking and keep going ticking, right? All of that. Uh,
Mhm.
I learned really from him, and I do owe him a good deal of respect, and will always have him kind of be as a top influencer. I think number three, then for me, be a man by the name of his name is Professor Willis, and he was my government and public policy teacher in college.
Mhm.
Absolutely one of the most brilliant men, and he was my introduction to politics. Old white guy. I mean, we have nothing in common. There's literally nothing in common. I used to tell him every day, like, yo, you are the most boring professor that I've ever had in my whole entire life. and he would not care when I said it. And I don't know why, but like that would just intrigue me. I'm like, I'm insulting you, and you would not be moved by it at all. He'd be like, I'm just gonna keep teaching, and either you want this or not. And so I really thrived off of kind of like what was the impetus for our relationship. And he taught me this, he taught me how to be hungry beyond the no. Probably,
Mm. That's what they're supposed to do.
I mean, like, probably one of the most valuable lessons
Yeah.
I ever learned in my life. I'll never forget, like, I wanted this job, and I mean, I just knew I was going to get it. And I came inside that office, I was DEF'd. Yeah, I'm sitting there, like, I got tears up in my eyes a little bit. Also, I was counting on the job because I didn't know where my next check was coming from. So I'm sitting there, and he like, okay, well, what do you want to do? Want to cry, or do you want to be great? Figure it out. He would just leave out the office. You're like, what? You're like, bro, what's going on here? Like, come in need. And so he really did. He taught me how to go beyond the no. And so, like, I've got, like any other person, I got a whole rack of people. But in all honesty, kind of in this season of my life, I really do owe those three men probably a lot.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Man, we always come across some great dynamic brothers, man, and you measure up right there. And again, like Pete said, we want to big you up, as a black male, unapologetically, and just doing what you're doing, man. Regardless of what anybody thinks of it or how they feel about anything, that is a lot of work. And you're on your way to wherever you want to be, and just want to salute you, man, and definitely take for taking this time to speak to us and kind of be out in front for once, and give yourself some shine.
Absolutely.
That it was needed. It was definitely needed, man, because somebody needs to know one day, if not now, for sure.
No, man, look, I appreciate it. I do not I like I said, do not do this. And I appreciate the accolades. I appreciate the community. Look, it's absolutely necessary, and I appreciate you brothers for doing this. It's immensely cathartic. At the end of the day, I come home and I decompress from this lifestyle, and I try to play an hour of 2K to act like, person, right? And then prepare for the day and then get back on the grind. And so immensely want to salute you brothers, and more importantly, like, y'all got to keep doing what y'all doing. And so thank you.
Yeah, man. Thank you once again. I'm gonna do this little parting piece,
Sure.
and then I want you to kind of just kind of give us a parting message. Some inspirational words to those. But once again, I want to thank you all for joining us for Unapologetically Black Males Surviving the Stigma, Standards, and Systems. Thank you, my co-host EJ Stewart, and for our sponsor J Pope and Associates. But we're gonna turn it over to the brother Marvin James. He's gonna close it out just like an inspirational word, encourage somebody. That's and maybe in a political field, maybe just trying to figure out their purpose, or maybe some black male who might be listening to this and just needs to hear something, encouraging at this time.
Yeah, look, I really do believe that every day there are people who are trying to figure out what exactly is their purpose. And because this life and because of the culture that we live in, you can really feel like you need to have it figured all out. And here's the truth of the matter, for you to hear from someone who has probably only lived 34 years. People say that, you're at the top of your game. I'm here to tell you that you don't need to have it figured out. You just got to be hungry. And as long as you stay hungry and as long as you stay focused, everything will sort out in place. And if you feel like that you are hanging by a thread, if you feel like that you are almost at the place of giving up, you've got to turn back to your why. So, whether that why is your family, whether or not that why is your own ambition, whether or not that why is because people are absolutely counting on you, you've got to make sure that you turn back to your why. And whatever you do, whatever space you get into, you cannot give up. There are too many people counting on you. Your purpose is counting on you. The people who are waiting for you in the future for you to be activated are waiting on you. So you got to just do me a favor and do not give up. And here's the truth: you black, so you got superpowers. So you got to go all the way, and you just got to
Absolutely.
activate them joints. And so, look, I hope that if you don't gain anything from my little departing words, that you stay the course and you don't give up because people are counting on you. For real.
I feel like every time somebody's speaking to me and I'm getting the word, I feel like every time somebody is talking to me, and Brother James did it again. So that I
All love,
needed that.
all love, all love.
Once again, thank you again for joining us. Make sure that you follow us on social media. You can connect with us, and we look forward to seeing you next week for Unapologetically Black Male, Surviving the Stigma,